I did fight it round to think it would be about 6th quickest, but I was in great physical discomfort.
And then you were on the second day, you put it on pole position.
Yeah.
And were you aware
well, that day I didn't do any laps in it either, because the engine blew up early on in the morning warm-up. Yeah. And we only got it out. Those days the teams were smaller and they took longer to change engines, and they didn't actually get the car running. I went out with about 20 minutes to go in qualifying, and my first flying lap was my first ever pole on guest settings, which I was rather pleased about.
Alongside Hunt on the grid was his season-long rival Niki Lauda with the Ferrari. The race, however, didn't go quite as planned.
We were running first and second for most of the race. I was not quite quick enough. I was about 5 seconds behind him when I had trouble, and a trumpet fell off the engine, started misfiring, and then, not content with that, it jumped down the throttle slides, which stuck it open in the middle of a great long corner, and I was not man enough to handle that, even though it was only on 7 cylinders.
Lauda went on to win in Brazil. In South Africa, he again had to surrender pole position to the Hunt McLaren. Although the Austrian made the best start and led the race, Hunt was in second place. Towards the end of the event, the McLaren, with a reduced fuel load, handled better. He caught up with Lauda's Ferrari, which was suffering from worn shock absorbers and a deflating tyre. At the checkered flag, Lauda won by a bare second from Hunt. The USA Grand Prix West, held at Long Beach, saw Hunt take evasive action when De Players Tyrrell closed the door, and James proved that the wall was stronger than the car. Lauda finished in second place to his teammate Clay Regazzoni. The first European Grand Prix of the season was at Jarama in Spain, with James Hunt needing to win. He drove a superb race to take victory from Lauda's Ferrari. But then the protests began. Niki Lauda was a legend in his own lifetime. 3 times a world champion, widely admired and respected for his fantastic recovery after the near-fatal accident at the Nürburgring in 1976. Lauda was born into a good Austrian family, the Laudas being captains of industry. They came from Vienna, and his grandfather, Old Lauda, was a devoted and successful businessman. Background and education clearly influenced young Lauda. A proper but severe upbringing gave him an addiction for excellence in everything that he did. Niki wanted to be the best, but his school career could have been said to be a failure. He desperately wanted to become a racing driver. Ferrari and Eccleston's Brabhams were a dream that drove him through saloons and single-seaters to 1970. By 1971, Niki Lauda was displaying the business acumen and single-mindedness that was to take him to success, not just in Formula One, but into business thereafter. On the plus side of the balance sheet was his deal with BMW, to drive for them in touring car races. They'd always had an eye for talent, and Lauda obviously had it. By now, he'd fallen out with both his father and his grandfather because of his racing activities. And so he was dependent on the income from BMW to set off on another plan, and that was to get into Formula 2. He did so with the British company March alongside Ronnie Peterson as number 2 to him in the Works Formula 2 team. He bought the drive for £20,000, raised from an Austrian bank.